Hey everybody, Daddy back again with another episode of Dad Builds. This week I'm joined by my friend bOhm. bOhm, would you like to do a little introduction here?
Oh, I'm bOhm. I'm the guy who usually goes like 0-5 every season. He pulls off one win, but can have a good video today here.
Hey, you made a big splash back in season 2 or whatever it was, right?
First season and best season by
Yeah,
far.
downhill from there, baby. No. Yeah, we're actually doing a double feature today. So we're going to start off with my matchup. We spent a lot of time on this team. We also spent a good amount of time on your team, too. So I'm excited to check out a couple sets of replays today. So we'll start off. We'll just jump right in. Here's the build that we came up with. So Tauros with Assault Vest, super bulky on both sides. And the move coverage here looked really good into James's team. Covert Cloak on the Braviary so that maybe we could get Tailwind set up without getting faked out. Also, Brave Bird in close combat, hitting everything for at least neutral, if not super effective. Dragapult, big damage with choice specs, much faster than Salamence unless it's scarfed. So Dragapult was looking really nice this week. Good amount of fairy weaknesses on the other team, so Sylveon, pretty basic stuff. We got the Terrablast Fire here to deal with Magneton. Magneton looked pretty scary for me this week, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. That thing, it's bulky. There's a lot of electric weaknesses that it can switch into. And Steel's always a good defensive type, especially with Eviolite in there.
Yeah, with Eviolite, that thing's very bulky. And 120 base special attack is no joke. So definitely concerned with that mon this week. So we did run the Focus Blast on the Slowking, which also brought Rocky Helmet to survive a population bomb while killing the Mousehold, which seemed like a pretty neat switch in to have. Also kind of like my anti-Trick Room mon in case James brought a slow mode. Avalug was another thing that we were pretty concerned with. Revavroom was the last slot, so Haze to stop any Iron Defense body press shenanigans or Dragon Dances from Salamence, stuff like that. Iron Head for good damage, even though there was a lot of steel resists on the other team. Zen Headbutt to deal with Muck, which is something else. Muck is something that people might not worry about a lot, but I think we spent a lot of time focused on it.
Yeah, just enough to check it. So that if it did come, you were able to deal with it without having to lose a couple mons.
Yeah. And Black Sludge on the Revavroom, just to help it live a little bit longer. That was kind of one of those item slots where it's like, what do we put on this thing? I don't know. Recovery item, I guess. So, yeah. Anything else you got to say about this build before we jump in?
If you look this week, you saw two matchups, I think, with Slowking versus the Mousehold, and I hoping something similar happens in this one. I forget who played in the other division, but Mousehold had I think it was Tay's game, had 3 misses on Population Bomb.
Oh my god, I watched that yesterday. That was wild.
It was 3 in a row, and it was insane.
Yeah, it hit once, and then it hit once, and then it missed. I was my jaw hit the floor. Yeah, so I felt pretty confident with the squad that we came up with here. Dragapult and Sylveon, I felt like we're going to be pretty big this week. So here's what James brought. Oh, I need to share my screen.
Yeah, share screen.
I've done this.
Sorry.
So many times. I'll cut this. I'll have my editor cut this part out. God, every week, sometimes before I start the video, people are like, hey, are you going to share your screen, or do you want me to just listen to you talk?
Just had everything pulled up, so we were talking. I'm just going through it on my side.
Yeah, right. Okay.
All right. Houndoom's a little surprising. We said something about it, but I didn't really expect to see it.
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting it either. I don't know, Flash Fire for the Tauros, I guess, but into his team, I wasn't really bringing fire moves.
Right, and look at your assist. You got Dark and Fire pretty well covered.
Yeah, Persian is another one that we kind of prepped for. So Braviary has Defiant, which deals with Icy Wind. It also has Covert Cloak, so it can't be faked out. So But yeah, other than those two, we definitely planned on the other 4 coming.
Yeah, and I mean we talked about Gardevoir and Salamence. They've been in every game so far that I've seen. So we knew they were going to probably be at the forefront. And I mean, literally, Team Builder, it looks like they were at the forefront there.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Definitely no Trick Room mode.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it unless Avalugg or maybe like Magneton, right?
It looks like he's there just to prevent yours if you had it. But
So yeah, let's jump in, see the leads. Persian, no major surprise there, and Houndoom.
Okay, interesting. All right. Just right into Salamence Intimidate. Okay.
Yeah, so I decided just to pivot here.
Yeah.
Get the Sylveon in. I figure I don't want to reveal too much on Dragapult now. It's a huge Salamence counter, so I kind of wanted to save it for later. Get the Sylveon out there. Icy Wind misses the Sylveon, which is pretty nice.
And it's huge. And Sylveon matched up way better. I know you didn't know that you were getting Salamence out there, but it was overall a great pivot right there.
Yeah, so I did go Drill Run into the Salamence, which didn't feel great.
Oh, but definitely taking out Houndoom or triggered Sash. Swift. Oh, don't see Swift often.
Yeah, Detect here made a lot of sense to me because I felt like Salamence might Terra, right? So I want to get that revealed as early as possible because Terra Steel seems like a pretty obvious choice when I have a Sylveon on my team. So I think I made a nice play there.
Right off the bat, we talked about Salamence being Terra Steel. I mean, we specifically prepped Sylveon for it to counter Terra Steel.
Absolutely, yeah. We got that Fire Terra Blast. So lots of switching so far. Swift on Persian is actually pretty decent damage.
I'm surprised. I don't see Swift often, but I mean, it's a solid move. It's guaranteed hit.
Yeah, and there's the power of Braviary. Braviary is super strong. I think for 5 points, this thing was kind of a steal.
Yeah. Oh, I was looking at it for a while. If I didn't choose Salamence, I probably would have picked up Braviary on my side.
Yeah, Salamance's very good, but goes down to a close combat there. So now here's the problem with using Icy Wind against Braviary. You're triggering that Defiant. Now he does double it up, so good call there. Thinking that I don't have Protect.
Real quick, why didn't Defiant activate there?
Oh, you know what?
Did we make a mistake?
Covert Cloak. We learned something today. I remember I thought about that as the game was happening, and it's been a day now, so I kind of forgot. But yeah, Covert Cloak is going to block that speed drop, right?
Yeah, I didn't. Huh.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So we learned something here. Yeah. I didn't think about that one, but it makes sense. Here's
that's the secondary effect.
Here's the problem with having things like Houndoom switching in for Magneton here. I mean, maybe calling out a fire move, but they also share that fighting weakness, right? So Houndoom comes in, and this thing is basically dead now.
And you already showed Drill Run.
Right.
It's across the board. You got a lot of... It's going into that. Icy Wind, yep.
That's good damage into the Dragapult.
Right. Icy Wind's always solid on Persian. I don't think you can run... Almost can't run a set without it.
Yeah, so I decided to swap to get all those stat drops away from the Tauros so that it can come back in and polish off this Magneton.
Yep.
Figure the either the Dragapult or the Tauros will have no problem with the Magneton. Sylveon obviously still has Terra, but I'm trying not to reveal anything because this game feels pretty much wrapped up at this point.
Right. I mean, screens on Magneton's kind of surprising.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because it's pretty slow, right?
Yeah, so it's going up after the fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unless he gets a tailwind set up. So, game one, things definitely went according to plan. Felt pretty much in the driver's seat the whole time. Any thoughts before we move on?
I mean, first game not seeing Gardevoir, and you just, I think mainly how your team was built up, it just looked bad going into your team.
Yeah, we kind of
one thing super effectively.
we kind of had prepped to cover exactly what James brought game one. So we'll jump into game two and see what kind of adjustments he makes here. So we'll definitely see a different lead. Switch sides here. So the Persian does come out again, but this time we get Gardevoir next to it.
Okay. Your body.
So far, I have not revealed anything on Dragapult other than U-turn, which feels really nice at this stage in the game.
Right.
Yeah, the double up into the Gardevoir kind of hurts. Really good protect by James there.
Blood comes out.
The nice thing about U-turn here is I get to see what James sends out and then make the choice in what I want to bring out. So Tauros looks pretty good into the Avalugg.
Right.
Until
water.
It becomes a water type.
So, that's completely unexpected.
So
Don't look at him and think Terra target.
yeah, things I wish I knew. Covert Cloak and Icy Wind interaction probably would have changed
That
thought
changes
process.
a lot of the game.
Yeah, because we talked so much about how there's so much Icy Wind on James's team, right? So Braviary looks great here. Maybe Weakness Policy would have been the call.
Yeah. I definitely would have ended up, because at this point you might have got a Braviary sweep. You just had to keep taking the Icy Winds.
Yeah, so now Dragapult's out here in front of the Salamence, which I like, but we do have Gardevoir and back on the other side.
Right.
And I am fighting an uphill battle at this point. Really nice switch from James there, knowing that he's probably going to get killed by this Dragapult. So switching into something that's immune, I think is a really good choice.
And here's Reverum too. Oh.
That hurts.
Unfortunate miss.
Yeah, that one didn't feel great. But hey, 90% accurate, you're going to miss occasionally.
Right. Ice spinner.
Reverum comes out, and we're down here, but this Avalugg at -3 attack at this point is not looking very threatening.
No.
So definitely still winnable at this point. But the Gardevoir is, however, looking pretty threatening here. So
Go Terra Steel, yep.
yeah, just trying to do a little extra damage, but get another nice protect from James and a good switch to eat that close combat.
Right.
And now with those stat drops and a tailwind from Salamence,
Oh, it's going
to be a GG.
all she wrote in this one.
Yeah, so a really nice adjustment from James here in game two. I think he had some really good switches and some really clutch protects to edge me out here.
Right.
That revealing the tailwind on the Salamence, I think, was pretty nice information for me to get.
Yeah, definitely. And so he's running Physical Salamence. He's got Iron Head, Dragon Claw, Tailwind, and I assume he's not rocking. I don't know if he's rocking Protect or not. I think I saw Protect. I think he switched out a bunch with them.
Yeah, definitely a lot of switches. So yeah, we go down in game two and get a lot of information, but overall for game two, really well positioned, really well played by James. Great switches, great protects. So
Good adjustment overall.
yeah, so game three, James comes out with the Salamence in the lead and the Gardevoir.
Gardevoir. There it is.
This makes me feel pretty great because I lead Dragapult, right? So based on these leads, what do you think James does here?
I would say I'm probably pulling out Salamence.
I would
Locking
agree.
in something that's going to take Draco Meteor potentially.
That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. I'm like, you cannot keep this Salamence in because that fucking thing is dead, right? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So, okay, assuming he switches to Salamence, what am I gonna do? Just switch to Dragapult. What does he do? He sets Tailwind. Like, I would not in a million years would I have thought that would have been the play.
And Gardevoir attacks.
That is brave. That is very brave, right? Because you know that Dragapult's going to one-shot you. So just to call me out and say, you think I'm going to switch. I'm not going to switch. I'm going to use Tailwind. Very brave.
Going on your side, and at least the speed gap a little bit.
Yeah, so I decided to match his Tailwind here. Moonblast does a very solid chunk in a Sylveon. Honestly, more than I thought it would do. But Hyper Voice...
It's absurd.
Yeah. Hyper Voice getting off the Throat Spray is nice. Another Moonblast, probably not going to kill me, depending on the roll.
Oh. Gardevoir got Defiant.
Gotta love it. This Avalugg did not feel super threatening, I'm going to be honest.
Oh,
especially,
not at this point.
Yeah, especially after Intimidates.
A little Hyper Voice in there.
Sylveon does live. We finish off that Gardevoir, which feels pretty nice because that thing was very threatening.
Right, so you got 2 aces down. I would consider the aces, but...
Yeah, I think I could have called that Sucker Punch there and maybe used Detect on Sylveon, but it is what it is.
I don't know if it would have really mattered in the end. I would have just Sucker Punched again next turn.
Yeah, we could have got some free damage off, right, in the meantime. I don't know.
Yeah.
So Sucker Punch leaves the Tauros at 2 HP. Draco Meteor takes down the Avalugg.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This combat with Sash. Wow.
2%. And James did run a calc at the end of the game. I don't even think it was a roll, actually.
Right.
That Sucker Punch doing very little damage into the Tauros, so unless it was a crit, that's going to be a wrap. And I don't know if Sucker Punch would kill Dragapult either. Probably not.
That's
but
what I was thinking, but I feel like it would have probably done 80.
Yeah,
80%.
Dragapult not the bulkiest mon, but it's also not the frailest. It has a pretty decent HP stat.
Right. And you're going into something. I mean, Houndoom, I don't think has a crazy attack stat by any means.
Right. I think it's around 100 or 90 or something. So. Maybe not even that high. I don't know. You have it on your team, don't you?
I do, but I'm... Oh, actually, it is 90. It's not terrible.
Okay.
But
yeah. Still probably not killing Dragapult, but Draco Meteor could always miss too. So, good game by James, especially game 2. I feel like James played out of his mind in game 2 there. Really great switches and protects. I think if I could do it all over again, I probably would not have gone Covert Cloak on Braviary. Or if I did, maybe Sheer Force instead of Defiant, something like that.
Definitely worked against you a little bit on that one.
Yeah, it's hey, at least I learned something about the interaction, which should be obvious, but it's one of those things, right? You just
it's a new item, and it's not really something you think about at this point.
Yeah. So, offensive Avalugg, I would say it felt a little underwhelming.
Yeah.
Especially after getting some Intimidates off, the thing's just sitting on the field, right?
Right. I mean, it kind of had to come. I think looking at your team and the ice weaknesses, it was a good choice. I think it's hard to make it work outside of Trick Room.
Yeah, I agree. I think that thing needs to be going first, especially if you're trying to go offensive with it. Other than that, the Gardevoir and the Salamence, a very threatening combination. So I know we've seen a lot of those so far this season from James, and you can see why. A really sick combo there. Yeah, so anyways, for the sake of time, let's move on and take a quick look at your team here. So can you start with this Gallade? Because I was so excited for this mon this week.
Your Gallade.
Yeah, I was so pumped to see this.
So we're looking at it, and the original set for the Gallade had Aqua Cutter, Night Slash, then it had Quick Guard and Protect, and I think I was running... Oh, what item was on it? It's pretty much irrelevant, but it wasn't really... It was mostly there to kind of support. It's a new pickup this week, but as we were looking at his team more and more, Daddy suggested, okay, maybe we go max speed, not max speed, maybe give it choice scarf and see what it can do. We play tested the trick on hat, and trick goes through magic bounce just because it just goes it back and forth, which still to me is such a weird interaction.
It's so cool if you think about it, right? Yeah, and then the coverage on this thing is really nice into your opponent's team too.
Right, absolutely. Aqua Cutter was definitely there for Rodom, and Night Slash hit a good chunk of his team. Sacred Sword ended up being a pretty solid move overall in the matchup, but not trying to spoil too much. Yeah, he was Salamon, definitely something I think will command some attention going forward. It's something that can really hit teams hard.
Yeah,
Sure.
and with the 124 speed and the scarf, you're outspeeding anything on the other team that was not scarfed. And then you have Trick, just in case he tries to set up the Trick Room, like you discussed earlier, so that you wanna go slow. Well, too bad, you're taking my choice scarf. So yeah, this set, I'm really excited to see if it works out. And then of course you have the Slacking and the Graphite Eye, which is a killer combo. Anything to say about those two?
Definitely. I mean, after week 2, I went up against the Dondozo with them, and I think I was a couple misplays away from competing in that one a little bit better. I mean, it was a 2-1 set, but it felt very strong in that situation. So this week, looking at his team, I didn't see too much that was going to get in the way of getting Slaking set up. If you look at Doodle, for one, goes straight through Protect. The only way you stop Doodle is probably Prankster Taunt. Even then, if I'm looking at Prankster Taunt, I'm probably throwing White Herb on White Herb. I think it's White Herb on Graphite.
The mental herb.
Mental herb. Sorry. Slaking, on the other hand, to prevent fake out, I got Terror type Ghost in there because he had Palmet ready to go. It looked like this week he made a couple good moves. Espather and Palmet were the two I was most worried about. So gave Slaking the ability to heal a little bit. Body Slam, Sucker Punch, Protect. Espather was kind of the biggest threat in my opinion going forward this week.
Yeah, really cool to have the Covert Cloak and the Ghost Terra in the lead. So you want to bring fake out? Well, too bad. You can't use it on me.
Right. Exactly. So rounding out the team, Tinkaton looked pretty solid. A lot of fairy weakness. We made some adjustments on this when we were talking. Originally, it didn't have fake out. I think it had Protect at the bottom and not the Assault Vest. Daddy talked me back into fake out. But he's Salamon. I mean, his attack isn't high, but he can hit hard when he needs to. And especially if you're going for super effective damage.
Yeah, if you're hitting things with super effective play rough, it's doing decent damage, and then Gigaton Hammer is a broken move. So,
right, absolutely. So there's not a whole lot to worry about. It's a solid mono all around, good defensive typing, and the ability to Terra. You do see Terra rock up there again. Rodom, he looked like a bigger threat it looked like a big threat against my squad.
Yeah, I thought so too. That is also why you brought the Houndoom. Part of the reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Houndoom's in there. He had again dark type weaknesses, trying to prevent that Rodom heat, and possibly a switch in. I can switch him into Flash Fire, get a little boosted heat wave. Originally I had Charcoal on it, but again, Daddy talked me out of it. Mentioned how frail it was. We switched to Focus Ash.
Yeah, because what was the defense stat? Isn't it 50 or something like that?
It's 50 or 60.
Yeah, like if you breathe on this thing a little too hard, it's dead. So
yeah, definitely not the strongest mod.
Yeah, you said you had Charcoal. Yeah, I mean big heat waves, especially with the Helping Hand from Graphite. I mean that's gonna be solid damage into a lot of Heaven's team too. I remember we talked about that. And then you have special Salamence here with Tailwind. So why special?
I mean, if you're looking right now, you have 4 or 3 physical attackers. I did not want to make it 4. I was looking into Squawk. I expected Intimidate Squawk ability just because of the amount of attackers I have on my team. If you look at like the Ball Hawk doc and you look down at my average attack stat, it's a 99 right now.
I think it's the highest in the league. Close.
It probably is.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping that changes, but Salamence can run the role of a special attacker pretty well. It gets a pretty good move pool. I mean, Draco Meteor was kind of the main focus. He could be in the back and maybe clean up a little bit for me. I get 2 Draco Meteors off, and Slashes is there. It's just another stab move at this point.
Yeah, Salaman's kind of similar to the Dragapult that we saw in the last set. I mean, its special attack stat isn't the greatest, but it's good, and it has a pretty decent move pool, so I think it's a solid bring.
Overall, I think you'll see here, it was definitely a fun match.
Yeah, so we do see this Guacabelly, and I remember you brought this up, and you're like, I think he brings it this week, and I'm like, I think it sucks, so we'll see. But it does come. Other than that, we definitely talked about the hat and the Esparthra. How do you say this one?
I don't even
this
know.
Bird, psychic bird thing. We talked about the Palmot probably coming.
Right.
Maybe we'll see Revival Blessing, and here's Avalugg in back-to-back matchups here. So let's jump in. I'm excited to see the leads here. All right, so the Squawkabilly comes out first. I would be stoked to see this Squawkabilly do something. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I want you to win, bOhm, but I would love to see it do something.
To be proven wrong a little bit there.
All right, so Intimidate comes out. This is where the Clear Amulet is really nice. Frisk on the Espathra reveals your items, but I think he would have had pretty good information after turn 1 anyway.
Yeah, that surprised me. I was not expecting Frisk.
Yeah, it's surprised not to see the speed boost. Maybe he wants the ability to go slow in case he wants to get Trick Room set up.
Right.
So there goes Squawkabilly.
At turn 1, go straight into him. I'm expecting Tailwind, so I'm not even going to mess with it.
Yeah, I think I would do the same. So Squawkabilly dies turn 1. I'm not surprised at all. So here Goodra comes out. Now Goodra behind a Reflect is a little scary because it's a little frail on the physical side, so the Reflect definitely helps it out a lot.
It's going to be huge here. So Doodle comes up because I have to be able to get Slaking moving. So we see Gooey, which is another nice part of Doodle is I get to see what ability he has before it activates, which is pretty nice. Yeah,
that is good. Then you know that he doesn't have, I don't see any reason he would run Sap Sipper this week, but it's good to know he doesn't have it anyway. So Grafai, because of that extra bulk you put on it, survives, right? I'm sure that would have died without bulk.
It was huge. I did not expect that in the least. And, I mean, you'll see right here, I see the defense boost goes up. Terra Ghost pops out because I know we're going to see Body Press here.
Yes, huge Terra right there. So this is an example of, like, new meta. Sometimes people don't know when to Terra, but you read, okay, you're going to Iron Defense. Well, we all know what comes next. Psych Ghost.
Right.
Yeah, really well played. So now he goes Ghost type, and you Sucker Punch the other slot.
Yeah, I figured I didn't see Terra Ghost coming out on him, so I figured, hey, I'm going to just get another Super Fang, try to lower him a little bit more before I go into it, and I'll just get the knockout on his path before it chunks more of my health away. Because it still hit pretty hard, that first hit.
And now you're looking like you're in a pretty solid position because you reveal the Sucker Punch, but now he's a Ghost type, so you're getting hit super effective damage here.
Yeah, so we're going to see some things.
All right, so Protect on the Houndoom blocks the close combat. Really nice call. Body Slam doing less. Oh, because the Reflect is still up, so that makes sense. Ice Beam.
These things a little difficult. But right now I'm looking at Houndoom like he's not a good matchup here.
Okay, in comes the Gallade. Resisting the close combat is nice, so let's see if he doubles that slot. Slack Off is huge. I forgot about that move. We didn't even talk about it.
And he throws Ice Beam out. So now I think we know item, ability, all the moves of Goodra right there.
Huge information. And now Gallade with the Choice Scarf, we know what's going first. So what's dying? I cannot wait to see what's dying here.
Sucker Punch. Gooey does better, which has been nice tech overall. Take out Palm It before it revives something.
Yeah, huge. Resisting the Body Press.
So I'm going to be the first to say I made a few mistakes here at the end. But let you watch and see what happens here.
Okay, so Protect on the Goodra.
And Sacred Sword doesn't do anything.
Right.
I'm baiting him to kill Galad at this point.
Gotcha, okay.
Sucker Punch. Nope. Then here comes Acid Armors.
Okay, so he knows you're scarfed at this point. right? So it might be time to switch, is what I'm thinking. And
Well,
you can't hit him with body slam. We only have sucker punch. We only have 4 PP left. Okay, this is getting scary. Let's see if he calls. When does he call the switch?
that's the problem. I was expecting it any second now.
Yeah, maybe he's gonna fully max out his defense.
He fully gets it, but this is where things get very interesting. I'm expecting any second now. It's just gonna come out, kill Gallade, and we're gonna move on. When I finally decide it's time to switch.
Oh no.
Oh,
Okay.
This beam pops up, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. Okay, so
you see Houndoom pop up. Thankfully, this beam comes again.
Okay, so Houndoom finally comes out, but he doesn't target it because it's risky. It's really risky on his side, right? Because he doesn't want the Gallade to die. He wants it alive. But now that the fact that you can get the Gallade back in with that higher crit rate on some of the moves,
right, even with that defense boost, which it won't matter at the end of the day. So Sash comes big here. You play.
Yeah, so good try by Heaven, but I think you had him. I think you had him outplayed here.
Yeah, it was just what bugged me is I let that acid armor go too long.
Yeah,
I gave him the opportunity. I felt like
sort of, but also at the same time, it's like you kind of want to make sure you can get a safe switch, and it's like, well, when is the safe time?
Right.
Tough one. All right, so yeah, Slaking looked very good here. Gallade looked really good here. Houndoom looked good in the finish. It's exactly what you needed against that Terra Ghost with ×4 defense. So yeah, I wonder if Heaven leads Trick Room mode here. All right, Palma and all right, there's the
right away.
Espathra, because I know how to read. All right, so we go Slaking again. I think this is a good choice. I mean, it was super dominant in the first game. You cannot fake out, sir. You cannot fake out.
We knew fake out was coming. I just went Doodle right away. I figured might as well not waste the turn here.
Yeah, maybe also he could double up the Grafii and try to kill it turn 1. He knows that you didn't Doodle first.
Kind of what
turn.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
I thought fake out was going into him just for chip damage, and then we would see I'm gonna crash there.
Helping Hand, huge here because I'm sure you're gonna kill this bird now, right? Yes.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yep. Take him out quick. Which this honestly works out best for me. Grafii is down. I get a free switch into something that might be a little bit more helpful.
Yeah, Grafii did its job, right? Slaking is set up, and that's what the Helping Hand was for too, right? Because you wouldn't have done enough damage to kill without it.
Oh, a little extra. Here comes the bird again.
Yeah, the Intimidate here doesn't feel great, but we're still going first. Let's see what we do here.
Didn't see this one coming right here.
Okay.
Ghost terror on the bird.
Okay. That
ignored it and got that paralysis. There you go. There's your bird kill.
I mean, that's about as much as I expect this Squawkabilly to do all season. But no, that was a really nice play there, especially switching the GUI, and he probably knows you're scarfed at this point. So switching in the GUI to get that speed drop is really smart, I think.
Yeah, definitely. The paralysis was a little unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a 30% chance, right? Isn't it? So
yeah.
It's bound to happen eventually.
It did. Which I don't know how much difference it would have made, but
yeah. So we see the Palmot come out. Are you thinking Revival Blessing? I mean, he hasn't revealed it yet.
I'm thinking it's gonna pop up because you're in a situation where you'd like to have another Mon back.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, I think just in case, I think I'd protect Houndoom, and then I think I body slam straight into Palmet.
Yeah, good call on the protect because he goes for the fake out into that slot.
Yeah, there it is.
Body slam, very good damage. That reflect has been really beneficial on Heaven's side.
Yeah, it was huge because I think we would have breached through a few mons a little bit. There's the revival
blessing.
The bird's back. They slam after Reflect goes down, takes him down.
Reflect wears off. Gudra basically dead and paralyzed.
That surprised me that he lived through that.
I
I
know.
guess the special bulk, but
Yeah, it is very especially bulky. So the Espathra, I'll remember it eventually.
right.
Comes out protecting the Houndoom here. Okay, let's see if Heaven calls that out. It doesn't matter. Wow.
I take the Gudra out. Gudra's got body press. Lumina Crash is the only move I've seen on a Spathra, so Houndoom should be safe there if somehow Slaking goes down.
Very, very strong game. Really
It
strong
was-
set. Slaking was nuts.
Right. He felt good, and I know we had a couple people early saying Slaking isn't good, might not work in this, but I don't see many ways to stop it if you prep well.
Yeah, I agree completely. I remember you and I were talking during the draft, and I was talking about taking Slaking pretty early too. I'm like, this thing looks, with the right setup, right? I mean, it has so much stats and a really good move pool. Like, you threw Slack off on this thing, and like, you just can't die, right?
It just feels like a mon it's annoying to get rid of it. It demands you kind of doubling into it to kill it.
Yeah, so really strong this week. I'm glad that the Gallade got to show up and do some things, like sit on the field throwing sacred swords at a ghost type.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Proud of that. But
you had a very, very solid build this week. And shouts out to Heaven. I know Heaven hasn't been having the greatest season. Heaven's a really good player, trying out some unique things here. So we do see the Revival Blessing go off finally, but unfortunately, I feel like you gotta revive something like Hydreigon or,
right. And
you know.
I think he's a move away from having a really good team. It's just waiting for either finding that trade partner or waiting for something to drop that's not working for someone else.
Yeah, it feels kind of similar to Sam's team, in a lot of ways, where they have a lot of good pieces, but it feels like it's kind of lacking that offensive like punch, you know.
Right.
Even looking at a team like yours, I mean, you see Slaking and Salamence on this team. Those two are so offensively threatening. It's insane. And you look at the other team, and well, Hatterene's pretty decent. Gudra can be with some setup, but it's not looking quite as threatening. Like, I'm gonna kill you in one move.
Right. Take some build up, and I think Espathra can be that mon. You just gotta play with it, play some things around it well, and get it set up. If you can get a Calm Mind off next with it, then go straight into Lumina Crash, and you don't have a Slaking sitting there with Clear Amulet, you're probably gonna sweep through a team here and there.
Yeah, true. Especially with like a speed boost triggering, right?
Right.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the little double feature we had going on. Thank you very much, bOhm, for joining me. We had a great time, man.
I definitely love doing it.
Yeah,
I'm glad we both were able to pull out some wins for it.
Yeah, I mean, they were really strong builds. We spent 2 hours talking about these teams, so
Yeah. So
Definitely paid off.
it definitely paid off in the end.
all right, guys. Well, I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for joining us.